Hello, everybody. So, I'm going to tell you a story about a horse called Raven. Surely you must have heard about her before in the Jorvik news. But if you didn't, Raven was a show jumping horse, one of the best in her time. And here's her story. Raven was known for getting around a show jumping course without knocking a pole almost every single time. Her rider Mia was perfect for her. She was also a really advanced show jumper, and together they were an unstoppable team. They won many competitions together. But success also means lots and lots of tiring training behind the success. And for Raven, training was especially grueling. Jumping high jumps, testing her for her stamina, speed, swiftness, while also the training built up her strength for show jumping. Their trainer, an amazing rider back in her days as well, trained Mia and Raven. And if she was not happy with the performance, she was definitely not one to hide her feelings. She pushed them so hard, beyond their limits, and after every training session, poor Raven looked like this, sweating all over, literally shaking from every single training. They were training for one of their biggest shows in their career so far. And on that show day, it was roasting. And the jumps were set really high, 1.80 meters, taller than Raven. With the stress on their shoulders, along with the heat and the previous grueling trainings, Raven was nervous, but she knew that she could do it. The course was going well so far until the accident happened. This accident changed Raven's career forever. Raven was in intense care, but she was put in a horse sanctuary. Sunny Stream Horse Sanctuary to be exact. She was cared by all the lovely staff there. They tended to her every needs until she got well enough to walk by herself. And then she was able to gallop around in her paddock. She was delighted. She was even lunged until she got strong enough to get into the big paddocks. But I'm not going to show that yet. Okay. So, after lots of lunging sessions to get her back on track, she would be able to be ridden. And when she wasn't being softly ridden on fun trail rides along the many bridle paths, she was exploring the many acres of land of Sunny Stream Sanctuary. She was delighted in her new life. Freedom wherever she went. But one day, a little interesting thing happened. So, on the interesting thing, one day, a person came over. She was torn away from having fun paddock times with her friend, and she was watching while her caretaker tacked her up. They went through the same lesson they did when practicing. When Raven's caretaker, aka when Raven's caretaker was getting her used to being ridden again. But the same lady came back the next day. Her name, as far as Raven had heard, was Anna. She was looking for a horse for her farm. And she thought Raven was perfect. She had watched Raven in the paddock, and she was ready to do blah blah blah. Raven hadn't heard exactly. They had agreed on something, and then Anna went over to Raven Raven liked her. She had a nice energy to her. But what Raven didn't expect was that Anna would lead her out of the paddock and towards a trailer. She loaded the mare up and closed the ramp. After a while, she arrived at Mountainside. Mountainside Farm had lots of other horses too, and they had a lot of land, mostly for crops. They had put Raven in a big stall, along with some Percheron friends. She was a bit restless, as it was stressful, and the exact next day, Anna came back to tack her up. It was different tack from the sanctuary. It was an English saddle. She hadn't worn it in a while. It brought back sad memories. But what she didn't expect was that Anna would take her to the paddock where jumps were set up. Raven was nervous. These weren't the lowest jumps she had jumped. She couldn't jump them. She wasn't ready. She had a bit of a fussy start with Anna, but that was fine. Anna didn't mind. But when they approached the first jump, Anna started getting a bit mad with the mare. The Raven was not back ready to jump yet. She didn't think she ever would be. But Anna pulled out a very cruel trick. She calmed the mare down, and then she whipped the mare as hard as she could to make her jump. Raven had to jump the jumps. She jumped them with a grunt of pain before each one. All you could hear in their training sessions was the flash of the whip and the grunts of Raven. Then she got more experienced. Some people might have thought it was amazing how Anna got Raven jumping again in such a short period of time. But if you looked more closely, you wouldn't think that at all. But one day, Anna packed Raven up again. Raven was in such bad shape that she just couldn't anymore. All the previous jumping sessions, Anna thought that they would be like this one, their best, where they took sharp turns and everything. But it wasn't like that at all. Raven was stressed. So stressed that she couldn't even move properly. She couldn't move properly, not because she was just stressed, but because she couldn't. She couldn't even refuse properly. Raven felt horrible. Anna put Raven in her stall with her tack still on, and she went to talk to Marley. She told him about the situation, and he said so what, train her better. Anna got so mad at this. She explained a bit more, and they finally came up with a solution. There were posters about a horse auction coming up soon. Horse auction at Starshine Ranch, 4th of June. Auction for cattle, horses, and ponies. Bring horses, cattle, or ponies one day before the auction on the 3rd of June. Now, this seemed like the perfect option. So, they brung Raven to the auction. And that's where I was that day. I was looking around the row of horses. I found many good prospects, and I saw Raven. I wasn't sure. I was looking for not a project horse, but a horse I could easily train, just a bit, to do eventing. But my brain had other plans. When Raven was being brought in, she went around the arena a bit restless, but when the bidding began, my hand shot up with my paddle. I was against another person, but they gave up when I offered some shillings, 100 more than them, and I won. I was delighted. They led the mare over to me, and I happily loaded her up to my trailer. When she came, she was very cautious, but she adapted quickly. I led her down the trailer and put her in the quarantine paddock. And I got her checked by my vet, and the previous cuts were covered up for the auction. So my vet took care of them properly. All the bruises, sprains, and cuts. They healed quick, but she had to be in her stall for that to properly recover. But in what seemed like just a few days, although it was weeks, she was in a paddock with all her friends. She made lots of them. And now she even made besties with her stablemate, Dusty, one of my criollos. And when she's not in her stall having fun time, she's out in the paddock. She's so friendly and so gentle. I can't wait to actually start riding her. So, I can't wait to have many more adventures with her, and she will be having I'll be having my first proper lesson on her soon. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Bye!